Hello, this is Craig Mitchell, your personal mortgage consultant for life. And this video that you're going to watch today is an excerpt from one of my first-time homebuyer seminars. So if you're a first-time homebuyer, this is information you definitely need to know. And even if you're not a first-time homebuyer, I can almost guarantee that most of the information will be new to you, so you can definitely benefit by watching it. If you do have any questions or comments after watching the video, please email me or call me, and my contact information will be provided at the end of the video. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to buy a house for less than you're paying in rent. Now, obviously this is a little subjective because some people rent big expensive houses and some people rent tiny one-bedroom apartments, and of course there's going to be a big difference between the two. So when you hear that you can buy a house for cheaper than you can rent, we have to compare apples to apples. What we're saying is you can buy, for instance, a 1,200 square foot house cheaper than you can rent that same 1,200 square foot house in the same neighborhood. I'm not saying you can buy a 3,000 square foot house cheaper than you can rent a one-bedroom apartment. That just wouldn't make sense. Now, there are a few exceptions to this rule. Typically, this applies to homes under $200,000. When you start getting into houses that cost over $200,000, sometimes your mortgage payment is slightly higher than rent in the short term, but in the long run, it's always cheaper to buy a home, and I'm going to show you how. Now, the first thing that probably comes to your mind when we're talking about buying a home being cheaper than rent is just your standard monthly payment. If you're paying $1,000 in rent, you're thinking that the mortgage payment is also going to be $1,000 per month or less. However, your monthly mortgage payment can actually be higher than your rent payment and still save you money, and here's how. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this because I cover this in great detail in one of my other videos, but when you're a homeowner, you pay less money in income taxes. So having a $1,000 per month rent payment is actually the same as having a $1,200 mortgage payment, because you're going to save $200 per month in income taxes when you own that home. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about buying a home, is you can actually get a slightly higher mortgage payment and still save money compared to what you're paying in rent. If you'd like to find out exactly how much money you will save in income taxes for your specific situation, just give me a call or shoot me an email, and I'd be more than happy to help you figure that out. Okay, so let's get to it. I went on my computer this morning to get a few examples for you, and to rent a $150,000 home, your rent payment, of course, depending on the neighborhood, would be about $1,000 per month. To buy a $150,000 home, your mortgage payment would be about $1,100 per month, which is obviously $100 per month higher than the rent. However, your income tax savings from being a homeowner would be about $150 per month. So having an $1,100 a month mortgage payment would be the same as having a $950 rent payment. $1,100 minus your tax savings of $150 equals $950. So on a $150,000 house, it is cheaper to buy than rent when you consider the tax savings from being a homeowner. Now, on a $200,000 home, you can rent those for about $1,200 a month. Or you could buy a $200,000 home for about $1,400 a month. But you would also save $200 per month in taxes when you buy a $200,000 house. So a $1,400 per month house payment minus your $200 tax savings is $1,200 per month. So it actually costs the same to buy a $200,000 house as it does to rent it. Now, the best thing about buying a home is your mortgage payment never changes. It's fixed for 30 years. So in 10 years, your mortgage payment is going to be the same as it is today. If you're paying $1,200 per month in rent, how much do you think that rent's going to be in 5 to 10 years, since rent goes up every year? Maybe $1,500 or $1,600 per month. Whatever it is, your rent's definitely going to be higher than now because rent always goes up. If you look at people who bought a house, let's say 30 years ago, they bought their house for $20,000 or $30,000 with a mortgage payment of around $200 per month. Well, their payment is still $200 per month today. If you think about it, you'd be lucky to rent out a room in the ghetto for $200 a month. Either that or maybe move back in with your parents. The point I'm trying to get across here is even if it doesn't seem cheaper to buy a house today, look 10 or 20 years into the future. In 20 years, rents are going to be double what they are today. And the best part is when you buy a home, you'll have it paid off in 30 years, which means no more monthly payments. If you're renting in 30 years, obviously you're still going to have a payment and your rent's going to be a lot higher than it is today. Here's a statistic I just looked up on the internet. Rents double every 15 to 20 years. So in a nutshell, if you want to keep your payment at or below what rent would cost you, buy a home under $200,000. If you want to buy a home over $200,000, yeah, your payment might be a little higher now, but in a few years, once rents go up, you're going to be in good shape. Oh, and don't forget, when your rent goes up, that means home prices have also gone up. So if you're thinking about waiting a couple years until your rent gets raised before you buy a home, remember that homes are also going to be more expensive in a couple years, which means a higher mortgage payment. Home prices are the lowest they've been in years. And in a few years when home prices go back up, which they always do, you're not going to be able to buy a home cheaper than rent. We're in a unique time right now with home prices as low as they are, so take advantage of it before home prices go back up. If you'd like to get pre-approved to see what you can qualify for or find out what your mortgage payment would be, give me a call or shoot me an email and I'd be more than happy to help you out.